make sure we are recording. There we go. And what I'm going to be doing today, as Jason said, I'm going to be taking you through initially what the attendee experience will be, and then also what the exhibitor or sponsor experience will be within that booth. I'm going to jump around a little bit to a few different events that we've done in the past, just because the ISRI site isn't fully up yet. We're still developing that. We're still working with you and the rest and everybody else to kind of get those assets, to get that content. So we'll be showing highlights of a few other events, but the function is very much the same. You'll just see some different branding. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and this first page that I'm going to share with you, hopefully you can all see that, is the ISRI2021 event lobby. This page is where every attendee comes through when they first log into the site. And this is where they will get directed to any of the sessions, the general sessions, the education sessions or workshops, any networking they want to do, and then also importantly, the exhibit hall using these gray buttons here. The reason I wanted to show you this is there are a couple of sponsorship opportunities on this page for depending on which tier you're in. So these 5 banners that you see here that say ISRI 2021, that is a sponsorship opportunity. And it's a great place to be front and center in the event because, as I said, every single attendee will pass through this page multiple times throughout their experience at the convention. Additionally, these 4 areas here will be videos that will play, one of which will be a how-to video on how to navigate the site and how to find what they're looking for. And that video also has sponsorship opportunities within it. Moving on to the exhibit hall, attendees will click this button here, which isn't quite live just yet, and will get taken to the main expo hall page, which looks something a little like this. Now, this was for a different event. This was actually for the National Book Festival back in the summer. But essentially, this is how the page layout will be. As I scroll down here, you'll see each little box here is essentially a booth, which can be branded with any imagery you send us, your logo, anything like that. And there is a couple different sizes available. You'll see here, for example, the Wells Fargo booth is what we call the jumbo size. We also then have the medium size, which is this portrait one like Washington Post. And then we have a smaller size down here. There's also opportunities to categorize the booth. So whatever we have developed a list of categories, which will be shared with you if it hasn't already, and you can pick multiple categories, and then attendees will be able to come in and filter by those categories to find what they're really looking for, and then also search by keyword tags as well. So that's very briefly how attendees will find you and navigate to your booth. And then once they do, it's just a simple thing of clicking on the booth, and that takes you in. Just going to give this a second to load. So there's lots to look at here, and I'll go through each thing one at a time, starting here on the left-hand side. And I apologize that this text is a little hard to see, so I'm just going to highlight it here for you. Seems as though this color was changed recently. So initially on this left-hand side here, you have an about section. This is where you can put any short description about who you are, what you do, anything like that. And then underneath, there's a list of presenters or booth staff. If I were to click on this, we can see some information about Veronica Chambers. We have her photo, we have who she is, her title, a little short bio, and then also links out to social media. So if you wanted to, as a member of booth staff, connect your LinkedIn to this so that attendees can connect with you via LinkedIn, there's a place to put that there. This main window here, where it says finish the fight, is what we call the main content window. And this is where you'll be delivering your information out to attendees that come in to this booth. And that can be in the form of a video, that can be in the form of a slideshow, that can be in the form of you turning on your camera and microphone and delivering a presentation. Underneath that here, we have this banner ad. This, again, is a a short but wide graphic, which can link out to maybe your site, maybe somewhere where you want to direct attendees. And then down at the bottom here, we have what we call on-demand videos. So these are videos that are here all the time that attendees can come through, click on, watch. So any videos that you have that you want to share, maybe about new products you have going on, or any new information you have coming out, we can load those on-demand videos into this space down here for you. And then here on the right-hand side is where a lot of the attendee interaction happens. So you'll see that this is currently the handout section. Handouts can be things like PDFs, they can be external links, anything that you want to be able to show the attendee or have them download. In addition to that, it's disabled on this booth, so I'm just going to navigate to a different booth real quick on a different site. And you can see here that this is a video that's scheduled to play as an example. There's some additional features over here. So we have a chat box, which is just text chat in the same way that text chat works in Zoom. So attendees can come in, they can have a text conversation. You as booth staff can reply via text. There's a Q&A feature. Q&A is for kind of more structured question and answer formats where an attendee will ask a question and you can then type a reply, and that can live there. And maybe throughout the course of the convention, you're building a quick an FAQ of who you are or something like that. Or maybe they have specific questions about a particular product or a particular service you offer. Next one is polling. Polling works in the same way as polling in Zoom, if you've seen it that way. The booth staff can create a poll, send it out, collect that data from the attendees, and that's all available in the report after the fact. So if you want to collect some information about what type of people are coming through your booth or what they're most interested in, so that you can use that for any future marketing or anything you're trying to do there, you can start collecting any of that information. You have the ability to, as this perfectly timed happened, you can push polls full screen like that, so that you can really force those attendees to answer that poll if you so wish. And then once they've done that, here you can see what the current breakdown is. Here's handouts again. The ability to grab some PDFs that they can take with them, download onto their local computer, or just browse through. And then finally, this contact tab. One option here is to join a private meeting. So if you have it enabled on your booth, you as a member of the booth staff can start a one-on-one a video and audio conversation with this attendee. So maybe someone has come in and you're having a conversation in the text chat, and you really want to spend some more time with them, have a deeper conversation with them. You can invite them to go ahead and click on this join meeting button and start that video chat.
Josh?
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I do have a couple questions coming in about some of the functionality that I think it'd be a good time to just go ahead and tackle.
Absolutely.
One of the questions is, are polling answers attached to attendee lead records? So like if a particular person answers a poll, is that answer attached to their record in terms of lead?
Yes, it is. So after the event is over, all of that reporting will show you who has been in your booth, what chats they have sent, what polls they have answered, how they've answered them, if they've asked any questions, what handouts they've downloaded, how long they spent in your booth. All of that is available after the event.
Okay, and one other question is and this is probably more of a functionality question, but in terms of Q&A versus chat. So Q&A is more of a structured question and answer meant to be utilized along with a presentation more than it is open chat. But to that point, my question would be, in terms of Q&A being left open, for 24/7 during people, even if you're not there, it is a good place to have kind of almost a created FAQ. If somebody keeps asking the same question, letting that sit there over the course of the entire event. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. You can, as booth staff, you can choose whether or not you want to publish a certain question that's come in. And so you can then curate that answered Q&A list into an FAQ about yourself if you so wanted to.
Gotcha. Couple other quick questions. One coming in, it was asked about video production capabilities, and do we have suggestions about how to produce this content? So in terms of the content that we're asking for to load all of this in, EventEQ and ISRI, we have an intake form that you get as soon as you sign up that kind of details all of the things that we would need to do the build out of this experience for you. That said, ISRI recognizes that everyone is at kind of different levels when it comes to video production and what your capabilities are. And so absolutely, I can point you to some folks in terms of, if you need video production, if you need graphics support, if you need those things, please reach out to myself and or Janisha, and we can get those resources to you and let you make the decision on how you want to go about approaching that. Myself, I'm always available from a consultative matter. If you have questions about how you want to produce content or what should be produced or how to produce it, always happy to be consultative in that nature, because we understand this is a new foray for everyone. Couple of the questions coming in here. Josh, can you tell them the difference between the public and the private chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So public chat is, as you can probably guess, it's completely public. Everyone who is in this booth at this time can see the public chat, can see what's being said, can reply. Private chat is a way to have one-on-one chat conversations. So maybe there's someone in the booth that you happen to know that's an attendee, and you can click on them and start a private chat, or booth staff can initiate a private text chat with attendees when they come in, and it doesn't have to be public for everyone to see. There's also an additional tab on the presenter side, which I'll show you, which is just for presenter internal chat. So those presenters or those booth staff can have their own kind of chat thread going that isn't pushed publicly, but all of the presenters can see everything that's happening. The Twitter chat, that's hard to say. The Twitter tab is for if attendees have connected their Twitter account to it, they can tweet directly from the booth. And honestly, it's a feature that we don't use much, but it's there if folks are interested.
So just to quickly get through some of these other questions, how do exhibitors monitor their booths? There's both. You can do it from the front end and the back end. The back end has definitely a lot more functionality in terms of what you have the ability to do. In terms of when you can expect to receive the intake forms, those have been, as you sign up, there actually is, well, let me explain. Each intake form has a personalized link associated with it, which links you directly to a SharePoint folder where you can place all of the assets needed to build your booth. So, and those are personalized. So as you sign up, those intake forms are created because it's an actual individualized link on a per exhibitor basis. So as we get a new sign up in, those forms are created and they'll go out. If you've already signed up and you haven't received it yet, you'll receive it within the next couple days. One quick stipulation I want to make in terms of the Q&A section, and this is important in terms of differentiating it from chat, is that you as the exhibitor have control over what questions are approved to show up and which ones are not. And so that allows you to almost curate an FAQ, if you will, over the course of this over the course of this experience, versus just a chat, a long form chat function. And will there be an extra charge for the lead program? No. The way your information is going to be received on your end once this is over in terms of lead generation is depending on the package that you opted into and the functionality associated with that package. Any of the functionality that you get with your booth that relays information of any type, you'll get that back. There's no extra charge for that, as long as it's that functionality, whether it's Q&A, whether it's polls, whatever it is, you will get that information back if that functionality is available in the package that you select. And the last one right here is what size Exhibit Square sponsorship packages. They vary. The majority of, I think, all platinum all the way through level 3 is all platinum all the way through level 3 get that large space, and then level 2 is your medium, and level 1 is your small. But Josh, if you want to, that kind of sums it up at this point, but if you want to keep taking us through.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Before I jump into the Exhibitor backend and those features and how you navigate that, I just wanted to kind of show a couple more examples out of this specific event, just to kind of give you some ideas of things you can do, how to really customize the page to work for you. So if I go into Washington Post, this is one that I like a lot. You can see here that they've customized this background image. They've taken their logo here. They've put all of their presenters here with great little bios and titles and all of this. And it's just a really slick looking booth of how you can just add a few little design elements to really make it stand out and really have a great cohesive looking booth. Another good one here is what were we looking at this morning? It was this one. So what these folks have done is they've created this animated graphic here to direct people to the content that they've made available. So here they're talking about handouts on the right-hand side and what's available to them, and then also little descriptors of these videos that are available down here. So again, another great way of kind of using the functionality and the features of this experience to guide folks to what you really want them to be looking at and engaging with.
Josh, just one more question has come in that that has been asked a couple times I want to get to. And it's around monitoring your booth and being able to know, okay, when do I need to be there, and how to know if someone has been there and answering questions to that nature. So some of this is built into the schedule of our event. So we are going to have a full day of exhibit hall on the 21st of April, and we do recommend that you have someone, at least one person, dedicated to monitoring your booth during that time period. The nice part about the virtual side of this, though, is that can be very, very easily broken up to one person does it for an hour, the next person does it for another hour, and it can be easily broken up throughout the day. When who's monitoring the chat and engagement across that. Within each day, we are going to have at least one dedicated hour to the exhibit hall. Now, the question we're getting is, what about outside of that? Technically speaking, this exhibit hall is going to be open 24/7 for people to kind of run in and out of whenever they want it, and scroll through and look at things and that sort of thing. And you're absolutely right. And so what these booths give you the ability to do is, from a functionality standpoint, you can have a live environment, meaning you do a live presentation, you do, and that sort of thing. But when you're not doing that, you can have it set up so that there's a video that automatically plays when they come into the booth. You can set it up so that a video is on loop there, so that there is interactivity and functionality within your booth, even if you aren't there. They can still utilize the chat to leave questions. They can still, you know, engage with all of the different content, whether it's the handouts and the other videos that you have there. So I don't want people to feel like, you know, they have to have someone tied to this thing 24/7, 24/7. That's not the case at all. We do recommend that you have, you know, a few people there during live hours, monitoring chat and that sort of thing. But the nice part is that they could most of the time you can function with this environment and do this while you're also still doing your job. So, you know, you can be doing other things, and if a chat pops up, respond. It's not the case where you have to be 100% dedicated staring at a screen for 24/7 for 6 days. Absolutely not.
Jason, can I ask a question outside of the chat box? Is that
Please,
okay?
please.
So will there be, so if I want to have an exhibit, if I want to have a booth, will I be given a list of all of the sizes of ads so I can produce the ads to that size to then put them where they're going to be?
Absolutely. So when you sign up for this, we give you an intake form that literally lists out everything that we need from you in terms of spec, size, everything. And it's in a list, and that's where we give you that dedicated link that gives that points to a share folder where you can drop these things for us. And that's how we build everything.
And so then I get all that stuff, and you guys do an initial, do you do an initial layout, and then I go in and update it to how I want, and maybe I can then, do I have direct access to change a video or change the background, or am I going to have a third party or you or someone from them helping me with that? How does that part work?
Us and EventQ will be doing all of that. So there'll be an initial build out, and you'll get to see it and approve it. And if you have changes, let us know what you want done, and we'll take care of it. All of that timing is built in. And when you receive that intake form, that schedule is literally outlined on there.
Okay. Thank you. We've never done a booth, and you guys are selling me. I think we might do one.
Great.
We've been a sponsor, but I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Awesome. Good to hear. I got here. It says, would be wonderful to get push notifications when somebody enters the booth, when somebody initiates a chat. I don't believe that function's available, Josh, but
it's currently not available, but what you can see, and I'll show you in a minute, is there is a live real-time list of who is in your booth at any given time.
Okay.
So you can see people coming in, but there's not like a little pop-up every time that happens.
Understood. All right. If you want to keep taking us through, Josh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just making sure we hadn't missed any questions, but we'll get to any that we do. So what I want to do now is, we've seen what the attendee sees and how the attendee can interact and receive your content and what you can push to them. What I want to do now is show you the booth staff view of things, how you can engage with your audience, how you can deliver content, how you can deliver presentations. And that ultimately starts at this screen. So as we move further along and as we've built out your booth, you would let us know the names and email addresses of those who are going to be your booth staff for the duration. And we will create unique login links for each individual person. And the reason we do unique links for each person is so that that little profile I was showing on the left-hand side with the headshot and the bio, so that links to the individual that's actually logging in. So once you can navigate to that link, you're presented with this page, and this this shows that I'm a presenter for the booth demo booth, and it does a quick system check to make sure I have good internet, to make sure everything's good on my computer, because we know that that's a big issue now, that everyone's making sure that they have good internet speed and they have the right browsers and everything. And we can send out all that information ahead of time to make sure that you're set up ready to go. And There's links that you can go to ahead of time to test all that out. And then once you're ready to enter, you just click this button right here, and that takes you into the back end of your booth. Now, just like in Zoom, it asks you for me to choose an audio option, whether I'm connecting via computer audio or my phone. I'm just going to ignore that for now, just because I don't want this Zoom call to be interrupted. And this is the back end of this particular booth. So to go over again what we've already seen, here's the chat, Q&A, polling, and handouts. Here's this additional presenter chat that I mentioned, and this is just for the booth staff to have a conversation with. And private chat is where I was saying that you can see a list of who's currently in your booth. You can use the private chat tab to see all the attendees that are currently here in your booth at any given time. And so any time you see a new person pop in, if you wanted to, you could jump in and say, hey, welcome. Why are you here today? What brings you in? What can I show you? Anything like that. You can engage with that person as soon as they appear in this attendee chat box. This is the polling tab. This is where you can fire your polls from. You can open and close polls at any time. If you don't want them open all the time, you can manage all that. This is the Q&A tab. And if I ask a question, real quick, if I can spell question correctly. And I'm just going to turn on an admin feature here that you won't see. We now have this additional tab called Published. So this Published tab is what's shown on the attendee view. So that's where you can curate your FAQ or anything you were doing like that. You can answer questions and you can click Publish, and they appear over here in this Publish tab. So that's your published list of questions that you've answered, as I said, for that curated FAQ. Handouts tab looks very similar. Here's a list of handouts. And the great thing about, this is you can choose to share or unshare at any given time. So maybe you're giving a presentation, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But if you don't want to have your handouts available to everyone right away, you can just click unshare on that. That doesn't show that handout for people to download. But if you want to just release it at a specific time during a presentation, or you had a specific one that you only wanted to share with a few specific people for whatever reason, you can then just hit that share button, and then that's available for them to download.
One quick question we had come in, Josh, I'd like to address is that, the functionality of can you video conference with booth visitors? And the answer is yes, but I'll let you kind of go into that, Josh. Yeah,
absolutely. There's two parts to that. One is like delivering a presentation, and then one is having like an audio video like conversation, like you would with a couple people in Zoom or something like that. So if I wanted to deliver a presentation, so we had, as part of our booth schedule, we knew that on the hour, every hour, we were going to give a 15-minute presentation about this new material handler that we've just developed. I can come in here, I can turn on my camera, except I can come in here and turn on my camera and mic. I'm not going to because it conflicts with Zoom. I can come over here, I can share my screen. I can launch a presentation from here that is separate from sharing a screen. So I can upload the presentation into this site and then advance through it without having to do a screen share and worry about whether I'm in presenter view or not presenter view or anything like that. Additionally, I can select the video to play. So I can play this, this fantastic video for material handler operations. And that gets shown to all attendees all at the same time. And so I can run a presentation that way, or I can push content out to attendees at specific times in that way. So that answers the first part of the question about can I do a video conference? Yep, I can turn on my camera and mic right here. You don't have to have it on all the time by any means. Some people, I've seen examples of booths where people have their booth staff in with their cameras on all the time and are just talking about things. They're using it almost like an ongoing Q&A in the way that we are now, in that attendees will come in and they'll type in the chat or they'll type in the Q&A and they'll just be on camera answering questions as they come in or something like that. So that's one way I've seen of doing it if you don't necessarily want to give formal presentations about specific topics. The other part of video conference is engaging with attendees kind of on one-on-one or in small groups with both sides of the conversation having their cameras and microphones on. And that's available to a certain tiers. And I believe it's, did we say level 3 and up, Jason? I think it was.
I believe so, but that's all enumerated in the sponsorship and exhibit link that I posted at the top of the chat.
Yeah, and that is, if I come back here to this contact tab, this is this join meeting. If I were to click this, this opens up into, and this hasn't started yet because it's just an example, into a space where attendees and booth staff can meet and have those one-on-one or those small group conversations.
Jason?
With audio and video turned on.
Jason, this is Randy. Quick question on that. Did I just hear correctly that depending on what size booth you buy, you will or will not be able to have a one-on-one conversation with somebody?
No, there's always ability to have one-on-one conversation within the networking functionality, like the networking lounge. That's 100% available to any and all attendees, and they can go in and out of and Josh can go into the networking lounge side, and that capability is available there. Within the context of a booth, video, one-to-one video chat is dependent on what level that you come in at. There is some differences in capabilities as you scale up in size.
What size booth would that be on your packages?
I believe if you're level 3 and up, you do have one-to-one video capabilities.
That is correct.
Do you have text capabilities at all levels? Okay.
Yes, you have text capabilities at all levels. Text chat is available 100% across the board. You know, the level 1, we're facilitating one-to-one communication in some way, shape, or form across all the levels.
And another question for you with regard to that, do you have the ability to, so if I'm at home and someone from another country, can I have, if I have a level 3 booth or above, can I do the video chat on my phone?
Yes. This platform is 100% mobilely optimized and capable, whether you're on tablet, phone, computer. Now, one caveat being, if you're logged into the system on your computer and then you try and log in on your phone, you'll be booted out of one of them. So you can't have both of them going at the same time. But yes, it's 100% mobilely optimized.
And can I have, so if I have 3 people that work my booth, can I have one on cell all the time and one, you know, that, so. Okay.
Sure,
Very
absolutely.
good.
You could have one on a
Thank
tablet,
you.
one on a cell, one on a hardline system. Sure.
I see a question that came in here about handouts. I was unclear if you can turn it on for specific people or make it available to whomever at any given time. The latter is true. So in turning on and off handouts, that applies to everybody all at once. So if I can, maybe I can show you the example. Maybe not, this link isn't available. But yeah, if I choose to unshare the studio brochure handout, it unshares it for everyone on the attendee side. So no one has access to that. And then I can choose to share it, and it becomes available in this list here on the right-hand side for people to download. Will visitors be able to see if presenters are video conferencing with another visitor? Visitors don't have the ability to video conference other visitors. Within the booth environment, there's a separate area where that is available on lounge tables, but within the booth environment, the video chat, the one-on-one video chat capability is between booth staff and visitors. And there's some questions about, Jason, if you're talking, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I was going to say the recording will be posted on that same URL that's at the top of the chat. It'll be posted in place of the meeting invite that was there. There'll be a direct link to this recording for anybody who wants to rewatch it. And in terms of registration numbers, at this time, I don't have current numbers in front of me, but just to kind of preface where we're going with this, in terms of virtual engagement across the scrap industry as a whole, we've seen a huge uptick over the course of time. And over our virtual programming throughout 2020, you're talking about over 5,000 individual registrations, from over 700 different companies in 34 countries. So we've had a huge uptick in virtual participation across 2020, which has really kind of been what's been going on in the world has been the kind of the forcing mechanism driving that engagement. In terms of registration numbers right now, I want to say we're in the hundreds. But that makes perfect sense given the registration curves that we've been watching over time for every single industry. Virtual participation in virtual programming from a registration uptick, it usually follows a very, very, very steep J curve. And that's a function of people and time, frankly. If I don't have to book a plane, if I don't have to book a hotel room, my need to register now gets closer and closer to the event over time. It's just it's a function of people and time. However, given our engagement over the course of 2020 and what we've seen in terms of numbers in people participating from the virtual side of things, we think we're going to have an extremely strong event. But Josh, if you want to go ahead and take us through some more, I can manage chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just seeing this question about delivering presentations, and I can, if you give me
please
20 seconds there, I can just set something up real quick. I can give an example of that. Bear with me.
To answer your question, I can answer a couple of these right now. Can you have a video conversation with multiple people at once? The answer is yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a question about what's the learning curve and time span for one setting up the booth? Well, in terms of actually setting up the booth, the nice part is that EventEQ and in concert with ISRI, we will be doing all of that for you. There is no booth setup for you per se. We're going to give you an intake form with a list of assets that tells you exactly what we need in terms of spec and size and all of those things. And really, you're going to be uploading those things, and we're going to be taking care of all of the actual setup. In terms of managing the features of the video in the booth and not making mistakes and that sort of thing, the timeline that we have built in associated with when we're going to deliver you the booth based off of the assets that you gave us and when the convention starts, we have, roughly a 2-week window for us to get in there and fine tune and make sure that you're comfortable operating in the environment. So that, we understand we're not going to turn your booth over to you in 24 hours notice and say, okay, have fun. Not happening. Absolutely not. There's a built-in 2-week window between when you're going to get that initial booth and be fielding us changes back and forth of, hey, don't like this background, I want it to different, whatever it might be. And also you'll have access at that point to kind of go in, kick the tires, hit buttons, play with things, so that whether it's you or a member of your staff who's going to be on point for this stuff, is very comfortable operating in the environment. And in all honesty, having seen what I've seen over time, this system in particular, part of the reason we you decided to utilize it is because it's very, very intuitive. There's not a lot of, you don't have to be a techie to operate in this environment. Most of the labeling is very, very clear. And and once you hit something, it's a really intuitive process in terms of step by step by step. But there will be that time built in for you to get comfortable with the system. And in terms of live support, we're going to have the ISRI hub, where at any given point in time, if you're having problems, issues, whatever it might be, there'll be ISRI staff and a member of the Event EQ staff there, ready and willing to help you, giving you instructions if you need them, and helping out with whatever you need.
Great, thanks, Jason. I can share with you this example of what it's like to give a presentation. So here's me. This is me logged in as a member of staff in this booth, and I want to give a presentation. So I come up here. My slides are already uploaded. I've already uploaded those slides, so I can just come here and click open. And this is now presenting my slides. And I come up here and turn on my camera. And hopefully, I'm just going to mute my mic. Otherwise, I'll hear myself 1,000 times. And then now I'm presenting. And I can deliver my presentation. I can talk to the camera. I can advance through my slides just like this. And we can look at all these pretty pictures. And if I come over to the attendee view, you can see this is exactly what they're getting. Now there's a slight delay. That's just a function of the way that this booth has been built. And how we're using it for the demo. But you can see that there's me delivering this presentation, and attendees can interact via chat, via Q&A. You can, if I was come back here as a presenter, I can now grab a poll as part of my, I'll just reset this real quick. I can start polling and push a poll out, and now this poll is available for attendees to answer. Maybe it's whatever that poll chooses to be about the current content that I'm delivering. So that's very briefly how you can deliver a presentation. You can have multiple booth staff with their cameras and microphones on at the same time. We tend to prefer that it's limited to 4 people if you are delivering a presentation, because you'll see them stack here on the side. You can have more and it'll scroll, but 4's a good number. Or if you're not delivering a presentation, then you can have up to 8 and it arranges in a grid.
This is how soon will the booth be live? Okay, so that goes to timeline. So, and I'll speak to that real quick. So just some important dates to talk about real quick. So obviously we're doing a show and tell right now. We're going to be doing this. If you want a repeat performance, we're going to be doing this again on February 17th. Exhibitor onboarding right now, that's earmarked for April 9th. So well before we start convention time. In terms of the exhibitor form and the assets, your intake form, right now the due date we have against that is March 15th. Obviously, we have a lot of wiggle room in there, and it's built in so that, if you don't have an asset ready or you have a final video, those things, yes, absolutely, we can accommodate them. However, we did set the base date at the 15th in hopes that we can get a majority of the content in, and we can start our massive build out of this exhibit hall early. In terms of booth review, meaning when you'll get to see your booth and kind of kick the tires and tell us, you want a different background, whatever that might be. That's March 29th to April 2nd. And with edits due to us by April 5th. And then obviously our show dates, we start April 20th. Hopefully that gave people at least a relative timeline. And also know this timeline is built out. Like when you get an intake form, this is on it, and it gives you all of them. Prisoner, how many attendees can? Josh, that's a good question. How many attendees can like if I'm in the booth and I want to, jump out to a one-to-one video, how many folks can I do at once?
In the one-to-one?
Yeah.
That's actually a great question, and the number recently changed. It recently went up. We increased our bandwidth on it, and I want to be absolutely sure, so I'm not going to answer it right here. And Jason, I'll circle back with you with that number this afternoon.
You can tell me, it's more than 3?
It is more than 3, yes.
There you go. Okay.
The previous number was 16.
Okay.
It might be more than that now.
Okay. Well, okay, 16's a big number.
Yeah.
Do I have a list of booth commitments so far? I do. Absolutely. I'll be able to share that out. No problem. Absolutely.
I have another question.
Sure.
What opportunities on the site will there be for maybe if you're not a gold level sponsor or a silver,
Mhm.
to push people to your booth? How can I use the full site, or am I able to use the full site to push people to come to my booth?
Absolutely. So one of the things, and this actually, Andy, you brought up a good question, and this goes actually to the virtual experience as a whole and the way to think about it, honestly. There are opportunities to push people to your booth either through chat, one-to-one engagement. There is within the networking lounge, you can see a full list of the folks that are engaging in the platform and go after them at a one-to-one level if you know who they are. At the same time, one of the very important things to keep in mind about this is that, in a virtual environment and in a virtual exhibit, the on-site booth traffic, if you will, it's a different ball game. There's a lot more pre-work that goes into promoting your presence, letting people know that you're going to be there, and driving traffic before the event ever happens. That's really the best way in which to drive traffic to your booth, during the actual event, is doing it beforehand as much as possible. And we have, in being involved in locking in early, having your logo and link associated with all the communications that we're sending out, associated with getting registration, and utilizing social media assets that will give you where you can put your logo in there and say, hey, we're going to be here, and doing direct links and other. As much as you can promote your presence ahead of time, that's really your biggest bang in terms of being able to really drive traffic to your presence. Because in a virtual environment, you're dealing with a truncated timeline, and frankly, the people don't search through the exhibit hall the same way they walk through a live exhibit hall. Yes, you will get some people scrolling through occasionally, but generally speaking, the exhibit hall itself is going to be built off of a baseline of I think we have 48 tags associated with different subject matters across the industry, and then a search functionality that goes off a keyword based off your descriptions. So that's one area also to think about, is that if the 48 tags that we have earmarked, and I think you can associate yourself even at the lowest level with a minimum of 5 of them. But it's important to note, if there is something very, very specific to what you do and how you do it, making sure that you enumerate that in the language that you use for your description so that search picks that up. Those are really the ways to leverage yourself and the best way to look at this. At this point, Josh, unless you have any more screen shares at this point, I'm going to open it up and let people verbally say their questions if you want, if that's okay.
But yeah, I just saw one question that came in about touching on networking lounge. So I was just
Oh,
pulling
yeah,
that,
please. Actually, yeah,
pulling
actually,
that up.
that's good. Please, yes, bring up the networking lounge.
Here we go. Now, again, this is an example from a different event, just because it hasn't been built yet, but functionality is the same. So if we can all see this, this is the networking lounge, or part of it. This is navigated from that lobby. And this first tab here is the people tab. This is everyone's virtual business card who's registered for the event and who's logged in. Now, when attendees log in for the first time, they're invited to fill out a virtual business card. Some of that information is there for them already based on registration, but it's things like who they are, who they work for, what their title is, that kind of thing. Whether they've chosen to connect their LinkedIn or any other social. So that's all these people here. This is the list of everyone. And this is, again, searchable, so you can go after, you can find those people that you want to find. You can start a text chat with them. If their email's available, you can send them an email. If their LinkedIn's available, you can connect with them via LinkedIn. That's all available on this page. I'm going to jump over a couple right now and go to chat rooms. I'll come back to the others in just a second. Chat rooms are, as you might guess, places where people can chat. Now this is just text-based, but we're going to have multiple chat rooms here based on topic, based on subject, that people can come in and they can have text chats. They can talk about whatever it is they want to talk about with all attendees. This is open to everyone. This is publicly available throughout the whole experience. Another option here is round tables. This works similarly to that video conference opportunity that's in those booths, in that anyone can come and join these conversations. We preload various topics or various spaces, and then folks can come in here and they can take a seat at any of these tables, turn their camera and mic on, have those video conference capabilities. Again, those are going to be open to everyone, for everyone to use.
Jason, what if you wanted to have a private roundtable? Can you do that as well?
So if you wanted to have there's a few different things there. If you have the private video chat enabled in your booth, that's where you can have those chats with the attendees that are coming through your booth. But there's not a way of finding an attendee and wanting to just start a video conversation with them. So if I came into here, for example, and once this loads, there's quite a few attendees in this one, so it takes a second. If I came in here and I found, hey, I know Alan, we've met previously. I want to have a video chat with him. Currently, I would have to arrange that with him separately. Like, all I can do here is text chats or whatever other communication he's enabled.
And the other thing you can do there is, if there's someone in particular that you want to have a video chat with, if you find them, within this contract of searching attendees, invite them to your booth. That's really the best place to do that, because that's where all your materials are. And that's where you can jump in and that capability, show them your videos, show them your brochures. It's all literally right there. And if you're doing your video chat there, that makes that's much more convenient.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My name is Martijn Rijntjes, Recycling International Magazine. I have a question on we're a trade press, right? We're a trade magazine. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, is there a media platform during the show? Or are we, or would we be just, as any other booth?
Absolutely, and to that point, I'm working with our current communications team right now to kind of enumerate and figure out that piece of it, because here again, it's a different environment than all of us are used to, and media is definitely a part of that. But in all honesty, I need to coordinate with my comms team to get an understanding of how they want to approach this, if you will, from that standpoint. But Recycling International Magazines is on that list. I'm talking with Mark Carpenter actually later on this week to actually define what that experience is going to look like. And we'll be in contact with you and let you know what that is.
Okay. And then I have another question about, because I logged in a little later, about the possibility of video, the use of video.
Mm-hmm.
If you, for instance, have a level 1. Level 1 is the lowest, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay. And you want to do video on that, like recorded videos, 5 to 10 minutes videos.
Yes.
Can you broadcast these videos in your booth through your channel
Yes.
on that level 1?
Yes. Yes, you do have video capabilities with level 1 on a pre-recorded basis that you can, and there's 2 ways really you can do that. You can have it set up to be automated, where it plays on repeat, or you set up a set of them and they play on repeat, one after the other. Or you can set up what's called on time, which means literally for each person that enters your booth, the video starts for just for them at the beginning and runs.
Okay. But well, of course, when it's recorded. And is there also the live option for video? So if we for instance, we have our own studio in the Netherlands here in our office.
At level 1, live is not part of that package right now. At level 1.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Sure. And Josh, I got a question about what's the video interface that you guys use. Is it based? I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, it's based off Meeting Space IO, as I think what you guys use for your video one-to-ones.
Yep, the video one-to-ones are managed through Meeting Space IO. The kind of presentation platform that I also mentioned for displaying video is native into the site itself.
Okay. It says, can you share a link to your virtual booth to an attendee in a chat room or networking lounge? Well, I mean, Josh, you'd be in terms of direct URL link from straight out of chat to a booth within that confines?
Yes, however, it won't automatically generate a hyperlink. It'll just be the string of text. So it wouldn't just be a click and go. Additionally, you cannot share a link to your booth to any external source. So
well, that's
because we want people to log in.
Right?
You have to be registered and logged in, so it won't let you in otherwise. But yes, in theory, you could put the link to your booth in a chat room.
All right. With that, are there any other, Josh, if you want to finish taking us through kind of the rest of the networking lounge?
Yeah, just real quickly on these last couple of features, mostly this is based on attendee engagement and interaction, but we're generating what we're calling prize packs, which is a way that attendees can earn badges by doing certain things, and this is to encourage them to interact and to engage and to explore the site. So here are some examples for favoriting a session in Agenda, for example, or visiting certain booths, or joining a roundtable conversation, which is that lounge experience that I described. And each of these, once you do these, you earn this badge, which gets displayed over here on your virtual business card. And so you'll see, once this loads again, that For example, Abby has this badge and Alyssa has these two already. And it also contributes to the leaderboard. So each of these actions earns points. There's certain logic behind this that we're going to be setting up for whether this is just happened one time or multiple times. And to get attendees to want to explore the site, to want to visit certain places. And we found that to be one of the best ways that we have of getting people to engage and to visit as many sites as many booths as they can, because they get to earn these badges and earn these points.
And so, to that point, ISRI is going to be doing some incentives to get people to take actions across the site in different areas within the confines of the sponsorship and exhibited packages that we've set up. There are options to take advantage of this capability and drive traffic to your booth if that's something that you're interested in doing by, simply visit my booth. You're registered to win whatever it is that I'm going to give away, and you get a badge associated with it. So we can drive. There's another way for you to possibly drive booth traffic. All right. So Josh, are you? There we go.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to share, so I'm happy to stick around and answer more questions. Or
very good. If you don't mind sticking around, just to make sure that we get everything covered. At this point, we've kind of concluded our show and tell, if you will. But I'm happy to answer any questions, concerns, that sort of thing at this point. So please fire away.
I have a question.
Yes, Cody.
The GIF on the one site that had the arrows, go here, do this, go here, do that. Is that considered part of that video that starts, or is that set up a different way?
I believe that correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but that was just a static GIF image that they placed there that had an animation built into it.
I believe the way they actually did it was a short looping video.
Okay.
That they had. Now this event that I showed happened a long time ago. So there's no one in that booth currently. It's just set up to kind of run forever. But yeah, it's just a short looping video that they had.
But if you're only allowed one video at that starting level, is that then the video?
Yes, that is the video.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, another question.
Yes.
So one of the selling features, Jason, about this was the amount of information that you were going to get from the site and the people that were at your booth. And can you show examples or give some information about that?
So I don't have any examples of the reports, Josh. I don't know if you have any that you can pull up, but as Josh enumerated before, if there's an interaction that happens at your booth, whether it's a chat, whether it's a video conference, whether it's a click on a video, or whatever it might be that happens, you will know about it. You will get a report that defines who that person was, what they clicked on, when they clicked on it. In terms of lead generation over time, the report that you're going to get from this is going to give you, enumerate exactly why this person came there. So from that standpoint, that conversation that you might have had at that booth, with that person in terms of gauging their interest in certain things, even if you're not there and they happen to come through, you're going to catch that interaction. You're going to see what they looked at. You're going to see what they might have been interested in, so that you can follow up with them. And
when are those dumped? Where and when is that? Where is that information housed? How often is it just live? Is it on somewhere where I go and see? Where is that?
Josh, can you speak to the reporting cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. The reporting comes out post-event. So it's not something that is like a live dashboard that you can go and see like that, unfortunately. It's I'm trying to pull up an example right now from a previous event that we've done. It's basically a very detailed Excel document that we then send out to you folks once the event has concluded.
Well, one of the challenges to that could be that if this is that when the event closes. So if that could be a 30-day window between the time we get the report and they were on the site. That seems like a lot.
No, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I will reach out to EventEQ and make sure that, once I guess the quote unquote live version of our event ends on the 29th, that we earmark the report at that point. And then if we're going to keep it open for an additional, 30 days, you'll get another one once that completes.
And I have an example report up that I can share.
Great.
It's essentially a multi-tab Excel document. On this first page here, we have just some high-level information: how many people attended, how many people registered.
We're not, George. We're not seeing that screen. Josh, I don't believe.
What screen were you seeing?
We saw your desktop.
Oh, well, that's a lovely image of my vacation.
I want to be there.
Me too. That was French Polynesia. It was great. Do you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. So this first page of this Excel document is some of your high-level information, number of people that visited, etc. This kind of total time engaged. Now this wasn't for an expo booth specifically. This was for kind of more of a webinar session, but the report is essentially the same. We have here the number of chats total that were received, the number of questions that were received. Again, so just summary page, and then here is your total attendee list of everyone that ever entered your booth, all the way down the time and date that they first entered. This is some registration information that we collected, the number of chats they sent, the number of questions they sent, the number of polls they answered, whether we had to ban them or not. Hopefully we don't need that bit. We do have the ability to ban people if they are causing trouble, just so you know. Here's a full chat transcript of everything that was said. Currently this has been sorted by name, but it's easy enough just to sort by date and time to get that in the correct order. Again, here's your Q&A transcript, who asked the questions, what they asked, the number of upvotes a question gets. If you're answering via the text answer feature rather than just speaking the answers out loud, your answers come here. Polling, there was no polling in this particular one, but any polls you've questioned, any polls you've sent, the responses and who answered them comes here. And there was a tab for who's downloaded what as well. It doesn't appear to be in this Excel document. There's a few other things, pop-ups, which we didn't touch on too much, or add banner clicks. All of that information is available to you in this document post-event.
And one quick question that came through, it says, if an attendee sends a chat message while the presenters are away from the booth, will the attendee receive a notification once their message has been responded to? I don't believe that happens. However, what we encourage presenters and our booth staff to do is, if they get a question that they respond to, one of the things that's nice about this system is that you can see who wrote the question and then reach out to them through the networking platform and say, hey, if I noticed you asked this question, why don't you come back to the booth? And it's a chance to not just answer the question for them, but actually invite them back and actually have a one-to-one engagement versus just answering the question and have them be notified. So it's an extra touch point that you can really take advantage of from that standpoint. Even if you're away from the booth, you come back in and say, okay, here's the 5 people that asked this stuff. Let's go to the networking area, find where they are, click them and say, hey, I noticed you asked a question. Why don't you pop back in and we can go through this. So it's really, it's meant to be, instead of just that, one-off quick answer, it's an opportunity to reach out again and an opportunity to have a conversation. It says the question is what are the hours visitors will have access to the site? The site itself will be open 24/7. I mean, so if somebody wanted to come in and peruse the exhibit hall at 3 a.m., they could. That's one of the great parts about this, is that you're fielding leads and access even when you're not there, and all of that engagement is tracked so that you have the opportunity to follow up with that individual. It's almost like an invitation to have a conversation without having to be too forward about it. Josh, is there anything else you had earmarked that you wanted to make sure we showed?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think I covered all of the big ticket stuff. Obviously, there are additional nuances to the different packages, the different tiers, the different.
And absolutely, myself and Janisha Russell will be happy to go through these things on a one-to-one level with anyone who wants to hear more about these things. And here again, we want to answer any and all questions you have, and we will, and anybody, any organizations that's going to engage with us, we want you to feel confident in your ability to utilize this system to really help, drive the mission of your organization. And while it's not the same experience we have at an ISRI Live event, it's still going to be the biggest and best the recycling industry has to offer this year. And we do think there's, a lot of opportunity to be taken advantage of here that frankly has never been tested in this environment before. And based off of what we've seen from a virtual experience level and a virtual engagement standpoint, across what we've done in 2020, we're actually really, really excited about the possibilities of this, and even incorporating bits and pieces of it into future events that we have, in addition to having the live event. So with that, any other questions that I can field? Okay. Well, like I said, I posted the link to the sponsorship website again in the chat. So you can go there and see all the different packages that we have associated with this event, and the different ways that they're structured. This recording will be posted there as well. If anybody wants to go back and say, I'm not sure about that, or you popped in late, we're going to post this recording there so you come back and watch and listen. And also, we're going to be doing a repeat performance on February 17th at 10 a.m. So if you want to hear about it all over again, we're happy to do that. And if new questions pop in between now and then, we're happy to have you again. With that, thank you very much, everybody. If you have any questions or concerns moving forward, myself and Janisha Russell are your primary contacts within ISRI, and we'll be happy to field any and all questions. I'll take you through the whole thing one-to-one again, if that's what you want, because we want you to feel very comfortable and confident in what we're doing here. So thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you at ISRI 2021.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
Great job.
Yeah, Jason, that was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jason, you did a great job.